here in America's News headquarters is backing off some requirements of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. Now scaling back the rules in verifying consumers' income and insurance status, just days after the administration announced it's delaying the employer mandate of the health care overhaul. How much of this is even left? Let's bring in our political panel. Greene, former president of Women's Media Center and a Fox News contributor, and Angela McGlowan, Fox News political analyst. Ladies, great to see both of you.
Great to see you, Jamie.
Jamu, you know, on the campaign trail, the president promised that everybody would get health insurance. Then came Obamacare. Now, little by little, parts of it are being chiseled away or delayed because of the difficulty in implementing it. So where does that leave the American people who need that coverage?
Well, you're absolutely right, Jamie. The American people do need that coverage, and that's why it's important that we have our government operating effectively and efficiently in making sure that this law is doing what it was intended to do. So if that means that things have to be tweaked, things have to be delayed so that this is done correctly, I think that's something we should all agree on. But the reality is you've got folks, Republicans, who are just basically meaner than a mama wasp when it comes to Obamacare. You've got governors in Texas and Florida. My governor, Rick Perry, 25% of the population doesn't have health care, and he is fighting implementing this as much as possible.
My dear, you're getting into the weeds. The bottom line is this. Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Fair Chicago, where I am now with all due respect, Rahm Emanuel, when he was chief of staff, said, we're going to get health care through. This is going to be Obama's legacy. You and I both know in Washington, D.C., when you put politics over policy and force people to vote for a bill that they didn't even read, then you're going to have this problem. It is clear that Obamacare is not ready for prime time.
Well, that's my question for you, Jamu, is why are we only learning now, not only that it's so complicated, the government can't figure out how to implement it, let alone the business owners who now, it may be reported that they get a break till 2014 to have to provide the care or report in who they're covering, but actually, doesn't it leave them more in a position of not knowing what's to come? And won't that, I mean, as the job numbers indicate, part-time jobs are up, but what about full-time employment? Can't this spill over?
This is for the businesses to have more time to figure out their reporting requirements and develop the different health care plans within their companies. This is the government saying, we are hearing you, we're listening to you, and we're going to make adjustments to make sure that this law is implemented correctly. But legislating against this law, which is what Republicans have been doing, they have been trying to fight the implementation of this every single day. They have passed a repeal of the Obamacare, I mean, more times than they've done anything else.
But sticking to the facts, Jamu,
what is important here is that the government is listening to businesses.
Ladies, instead of this, let me ask this. The IRS, oh, we've been talking about them a lot lately. They are tasked with doing a lot of the employer contact, and look at the situation they're in right now. What's the prediction, Angela, that this even gets through? Forget about Republicans not being in favor of it for the reasons that they know and they'll pursue. If it can't be implemented, why is it there in the first place? Are we working on Plan B?
We need to work on Plan B, and that's what the Republicans have been doing. But I'm going to agree with Jamu that you do have some Republicans that are playing politics that want to run on Obamacare's failure. But they need to do their job, Jamie. And some Republicans are putting forth efforts, like Paul Ryan, on a Plan B plan, because it's clear that Obamacare is not going to work. And noble in purpose, Jamu. Maybe folks in the Democratic Party really wanted to do something to help the American people with health care, but clearly the 50 million people that Obamacare intended to cover is not covering them.
Is it good faith, Jamu, but not a good idea?
It is an important idea. We all know that our health care system was imploding. It was untenable. Now, you look at states like California and New York who have embraced this law. Their residents are going to see the benefits of it. And in states where Republican governors are fighting, it's going to take a little bit more time. But there isn't a Plan B. Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act, is already helping people. young people who can stay on their parents' plan, people who had pre-existing conditions. This law is the law of the land, and it is already helping those
these are good and valid points, Jammu, because under those two circumstances, there were benefits for people that didn't have it before. But there's uncertainty, wouldn't you agree, Jammu, for employers who now may hesitate to hire full-time employees while they wait on the sidelines till 2014 to see if it now moves to 2015.
The administration is clearly responding to that uncertainty and being more effective in how they implement this. That's common sense. That is what the American people want from their government. They don't want this pushed through in a way that is going to hurt businesses. So on one hand, you have the Republicans saying this law is going to hurt businesses, and on the other hand, the Obama administration is saying how can we make this most effective and simplify this for businesses, but they're still, you know, screaming and throwing their hands up in the air.
I know this
just don't get it.
Healthcare discussion.
You said look at states. I just want to say this, Jamie. You said look at states. Look at Massachusetts, where they're saying that this works. It's not working. So
Angela,
the bottom line is this.
Before we go, quick response, Angela, on the jobs, because it's true that part-time jobs are up, numbers are up overall, but not for full-time employment. You think there's any connection?
If you look at Red Lobster, and the CEO of Red Lobster supported President Obama, he's moving his folks down to more part-time because he can't afford to pay for Obamacare. So even though we're having more part-time jobs, Jamie, the bottom line is this. People put politics over policy, and now the American people, once again, are suffering.
I got to leave it there. I just try to stick to the facts. We report, folks decide, both sides here. Thanks so much to both of you. Jammu, Angela, always great to have you both here.